All right, good evening. Thank you all for being here. The time is 5:16, and I'd like to call the February 25th, 2025 joint meeting of the Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Commission meeting to order. I am going to pass this over to our clerk this evening, Bo, who will explain how participants can utilize translation services.
Members of the public, this entire meeting will be provided in Spanish. To access live interpretation services in Zoom, click the interpretation globe icon in your Zoom webinar controls and select the Spanish language. At this time, I would like my colleague Ron to provide these instructions in Spanish.
Sí, buenas noches todos. Yo soy Ron Obregón con On Point Language Solutions y aquí tenemos para ustedes una traducción de esta reunión esta noche. Simplemente tiene que hacer clic en el icono de un globo que ven aquí abajo de sus pantallas para acceder a traducción en español. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Ron.
Okay, and so now we're at the point of the meeting where we do roll call to establish a quorum.
Yes. Commissioner Huber Levy. Commissioner Uhila Hatao. Commissioner Ali. Commissioner Blanco.
Here.
Here, sorry about that.
No worries. Commissioner Bocanegra.
Here.
Commissioner Ginevro.
Here.
Commissioner Clemmer. Commissioner Montani. Commissioner Nori. Commissioner Williams.
Here.
And Chairperson Musin.
Here, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just need to get clarification from Commissioner Ali. Are you participating remotely due to an illness, or what is the purpose of attending remotely this evening?
Yeah, due to my mom's illness, I'm in the hospital with her right now.
I'm so terribly sorry. I'm so terribly
Yeah,
sorry.
it's all right. She had a successful surgery though, but I've been here since Friday.
Thank you. So how thank you so much.
I think he needs to at least keep his camera.
Okay, so
Commissioner.
if at all possible, if you could keep your camera on. If not, I understand you're in a hospital, so if you can't, that's fine too. We'll just go ahead and treat your comments like a public comment. But thank you so much for tuning in.
To the chair?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Hi.
If possible, I don't believe we have it on our agenda for like in memoriams, but I am aware of two deaths that have happened this past month. One was in San Jose where a 15-year-old was stabbed
Yes.
and was killed. And then there was another death here in Redwood City. So I just wanted to ask if we may have a moment of silence for these two young men and their family and for the community if possible, please.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. We'll take a moment of silence. Thank you so much. Okay, next up on the agenda is agenda review and approval. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda, or do I have any? All right, so that is motion made by Commissioner Bocanegra, seconded by Vice Chair Hibberly. Thank you so much. All those, do we need to do a vote for the agenda?
We need to do roll call because
Okay, so go ahead.
Commissioner Huber Levy.
Yes, I mean.
It's okay. Commissioner Uhila Hatao.
Yes.
Commissioner Ali.
Yes.
Commissioner Blanco.
Aye.
Commissioner Bocanegra.
yes.
Commissioner Ginevro.
Yes.
Commissioner Clemmer is not here. Commissioner Mathani. Not here either. Commissioner Nori. Not here. Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
and Chair Rasmussen.
Yes, aye. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the meeting minutes for January 28th? Okay, motion made by Commissioner Bocanegra.
I'll second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Huber Levy. Thank you so much. We've reached the time in our meeting where we take public comment for items not on the agenda. I will go ahead and pass this over to our clerk, who may have some public comments to read.
Members of the public, if you would like to make a public comment, please bring a speaker slip up to the clerk during this time. For those of you joining this meeting online, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom. Does anyone have any public comment on any topic not on the agenda? No public comments. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you so much. So we are at that point in the meeting where we get our updates from our system partners. I do not see Ron Reyes in the room, but let me check online to see if he is with us online. I do not see him online, so we will go ahead and pass Ron for now and go on to the probation department, who has notified us that they will not be here again this evening, but Chair Huber Levy has, Vice Chair Huber Levy has a update to provide from probation.
Yes, I do. So the statistics, the data for this past month. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, can you please speak into the mic? That way it's easier to,
Yes.
thank you so much.
Sorry about that. So the data for the past month in juvenile hall, there were 24 youth detained in juvenile hall, 23 male, 1 female. That included 2 out-of-county youth, 1 from Santa Clara, 1 from San Francisco. And the racial data for that group of youth is 18 Hispanic youth, 2 African-American, 1 Pacific Islander, and 3 other or not specified. 12 youth were on electronic monitoring, and that included 11 male and 1 female. In our juvenile division, the youth in the juvenile justice system include 167 youth in court or diversion and 188 youth under supervision, for a total of 355 youth over the past month.
Thank you so much. Next up is the youth liaison report, and the report that I received. Oh, we do public comment at the very end. At the very end of So for the youth liaison report, the youth wanted me to report that they completed a new mural project in the visiting room. There will be 3 college graduation celebrations in May, and Live in Peace has begun an inner perspectives workshop in the in both housing units of the juvenile hall. So that is our youth liaison report. Next up is County Office of Education. I'm looking for Sarah Notch. Let's see if she is. Thank you. I do not see Sarah Notch. Is there anybody online who is reporting for Sarah this evening? If so, could you please raise your hand? I do not see anyone from the County Office of Ed, so we will switch now to Behavioral Health and Recovery Services. And I did see Ormeet Shoham in the online. So Ormeet, please accept the invitation to become a panelist so you can share your update. Thank you so much. Yes. Swanee. Yes, it's okay.
Good evening, everyone. Was there a question I missed? Sorry, I didn't hear.
No, it's your time to report out, the monthly report out.
Oh, my apologies. I don't have anything to report out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ron Reyes has joined us. Ron, should I let you get settled for a minute before I ask you to give your update? Okay.
Thank you. Can you speak into the mic?
We had 44 appointments in the last 4 weeks. Out of those 44, 9 of them were detentions. And of the 9 detentions, 6 of them contain allegation of 707B offenses. Those are offenses that are considered in the welfare institution code are serious or violent. There were 32 cases out of custody. And out of the 32, 2 of them had contained allegation of 707B offenses. There were 4 sealings in the last 4 weeks. We have received 7.
Can you repeat the last 4 weeks?
Yeah.
What was the last 4 weeks?
There were 4 sealings that in the last 4 weeks. And on our Miranda helpline, we received 7 calls from law enforcement agencies. We conducted 7 consultations. 2 of those youth we spoke to were age 16 and 17. And the rest of them were under the age of 15 and younger. There were 6 minors who exercised the right to remain silent and 1 minor.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being
Happy to
here.
answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Ron?
Yes, sir.
Has there been any?
Speak into the mic, please.
Excuse me, my name is Paul Bocanegra. Has there been any discussions regarding the charges that you are receiving for maybe fighting in the juvenile hall or things like that? These 707 hearings, are any of them in relation to youth resolving their conflicts on the way they know juvenile hall?
As I sit here today, I'm not 100% in the last 4 weeks if they were of those cases that we're referring to were arising out of incident at YSC. I can look into it and get back to you.
So, has there been any maybe discussion in your department regarding this new rise and charging you with felonies for fighting or being in trouble? YSC, is there any conversation?
I mean, we always have those conversations for sure, and we kind of keep an eye on them. And then also the way they get filed, sometimes we flag those cases because they do have an impact, you know, all the way around. Not just like it's a no offense, but it does impact the underlying or the current offense they're in custody.
Thank you, Ron.
Yeah.
Commissioner Ali, I think, has his hands up.
Yes. Shirley?
Yes, thank you. I was wondering, I think I heard you say that there were 4 shootings last week in San Mateo County. Was that correct?
Ceilings. It was 4 ceilings of the record, not shooting.
Okay, I
Yes,
wanted to
ceilings of the
clarify.
record, yes.
Okay, thank you. Well, I had a question about that, and I don't know who's the appropriate person to answer, but I was just wondering if there's anything that is done when gun violence is involved. Is there some type of program or a group of people that go and talk with the victims or anything like that? Because I'm a gun violence survivor, and I have an interest in being able to communicate people who are like even when they're in a hospital and those types of things.
I'm not sure that we have a gun violence prevention program or something. Are you aware of anything, Ron?
I'm off the top of my head right now. I'm not aware of it. I think there are some local programs, I believe, but I'm not sure if there's a big scale or not.
Yes, thank you so much. I can't think of anything off the top of my head either. But thank you so much for bringing up that question. Anyone else have a question for Ron? Okay.
If I may add, I know there
Yes.
were some effort last year in the last legislative year to try to do a pilot program like that up in Sacramento County, but that bill did not go far.
That's unfortunate. Okay, thank you. I see multiple representatives from Fly, so I'm not sure which ones are going to be doing our report this month. I think I have made the majority of you panelists, so please feel free to come off of mute and begin to give your report.
Hi, Joanna. I think Crispet Cortez is the one giving the report for the reentry program today. I don't know if she has access as a panelist.
Okay, I just sent her a link. Hopefully, there she is. Okay. Crispet, welcome.
Hi everyone, nice to see everyone. But yeah, so for reentry program right now we are at let me see, 10. We're at 22 youth currently. We are still looking for a third case manager, so once that position is filled, we'll be able to serve another 12 youth in the program. And then some updates that we generally have is one of our youth was able to join the cheerleading program. So she's been doing really good in terms of finding new outlets to do. We also have 2 new school enrollments. So something that we help with in the reentry program is getting them kind of enrolled back into school after incarceration. So we've been able to successfully place the majority of the youth on our caseload into school. And then just last week we had a bowling event where we had four youth show up. So that was a successful event. A lot of the youth had fun. And it was a good way to kind of distract them and have them engaged in a positive pro-social. So yeah, we have another workshop tomorrow that's focused specifically on job readiness. So we're excited to see what youth come through for that event. But if I can answer any questions or provide any more context on our program, please let me know. But if not,
Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Crispet Cortez from Fly?
To the chair,
Yes.
with the programming, I was wondering if she would be interested in inviting the youth that are involved in the programs to the Oye Latinx Youth Conference. If she would be interested, I'd be more than happy to see if she can send me her email, and I'll be more than happy to send her the
Yes, I'll get
information.
that to you. I'll get that to you. Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be great. We'd love to have Fly Youth represented there. Thank you.
Oh, I was just wondering, thank you for that report. The two new school enrollments, are those secondary school or those post-secondary school?
It is for high school.
It's for high school, so they're enrolling back into their school district?
Yeah, enrolling back into school district.
Anybody else, comments or questions for Fly? I just had one comment, and that was, I thought it was incredible that the youth at the juvenile hall were included on the interview process for the next case manager. Having them sit on the interviews and participate in that way not only gives them skills, but it also gives them agency on who's going to be hired and who's going to be working with them. So excellent job on putting them in that process. I see Tatiana Castaneda. Tati,
Yes.
do you have the report for Insight? And I may have jumped the gun there with saying about, the interviews. Sorry.
Yes. So just some secure track updates, Johanna. As you mentioned, we did have them help us interview our new stay lead coach, who will be starting in April. They were super excited about that. They love being a part of that process. We're also currently doing other interview prep with them inside of the juvenile hall. And we are with them, our dosage increased, so we're with them for about 10 hours a week now. So we have more one-on-one and group workshop time with them. Yeah, currently working on interview practice, public speaking, self-advocacy skills. Yeah, and there are 4 youth who are currently committed to secure track at the hall right now.
Thank you so much, Tati. I appreciate the report. Any questions for Tatiana?
Tatiana, you're referring to the 4 youth in secure track, the 10 hours per week. Are the youth together?
They're together for some of that time. A lot of it is one-on-one time. So we try to get about 2 hours with each youth on individual one-on-one case management time. But we do have 10 hours of that time that we can be on the unit. So sometimes our case management one-on-one time is outside of those designated time slots that we do have, but it's both individual and group work.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
I do not, is there anybody else from Fly who's going to be giving a report on anything tonight? No? Okay, great. Thank you both so much. I do not see anyone here from Children and Family Services, and I'm going to give one more check to see if anybody is here from County Office of Ed. I do not see anyone. So at this time, we'd like to take public comment on item 3.
Members of the public, if you would like to comment on any of these updates, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom or bring a speaker slip up to the clerk during this time for public comment. Any public comment online? No, not in person. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you so much. Okay, next up on the agenda is our election of officers for our Vice Chair of Membership position. Up for vote tonight is Commissioner Uhila Hautau, and we're excited that she's willing to take on this position. And so we just need to do the formal vote.
Commissioner Huber Levy.
Yes.
Awesome. Commissioner Uhila Hautau.
Yes.
Commissioner Ali.
Yes.
Commissioner Blanco.
Aye.
Commissioner Bocanegra.
Yes.
Commissioner Ginevra.
Yes.
Commissioner Clemmer.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
And Chair Rasmussen.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tiffany. We're so grateful that you're willing to take on the spot.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, do we need to take? Okay, that sounds fine.
Members of the public, if you'd wish to comment on this agenda item, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom or bring a speaker slip up to the clerk during this time for public comment. Any public comment online? Looks like no, and not in person. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you. So now we are, have gotten to the point in the agenda where we are going to go over our 2024 annual inspection report for the juvenile hall. So I'm going to attempt to share my screen. What is this one? This is a brand new computer. What's happening? Okay. Okay. I'll have to do to come back and say. I will be right back. I apologize for the delay. So sorry for the delay.
Yeah.
I think I'll need to just be made a host again. So I'll just need to be made a host again, and then I can share my screen. Thank you so much.
And almost here. Excuse me.
You have to be here. This one.
Thank you. Here we go. Okay, so this year's juvenile inspection report team consisted of myself, Commissioner Amaya Nori, and former Commissioner Susan Swope. We spent approximately 3 days up at the juvenile hall. 1 day and a little over was spent reviewing documents and interviewing staff, interviewing youth, and inspecting the facility. Unfortunately, as you'll see in the report, this year we were not able to even obtain basic data for the report. So we don't have anything to report to you on gender, age, county of residence, average length of incarceration, out-of-county youth, total bookings. We're without any data at all. The probation department did say that they were working with the county attorney on providing that information, but unfortunately, we never received it. We received word the night before we were due to go in for the inspection that they were consulting with the county attorney and that they would be providing the data to us at a later point. And the inspection process was delayed several months, we were hoping to get that data, but unfortunately, it never arrived. So when you look at the report, you'll see prior year statistics, but unfortunately, we have nothing to report this year. Major issues and concerns this year, robust rehabilitative programs and services for youth who have juvenile hall commitment. So this would be a youth who's not only just being detained, but who's actually been committed to the juvenile hall, but not through a secure track commitment. This would just be a general juvenile hall commitment, wanting to provide additional, more robust rehabilitative programs and services for them. There is an existing gap with pre-adjudication services. Oftentimes, when a youth enters the juvenile justice system for the first time, the family is in somewhat of a crisis. The child's acting out, maybe they're not going to school. The parents lack the support they need to get things under control. And going into the hall is sort of like a cooling off time. But when they are released and prior to their case being adjudicated or wrapped up and completed, there aren't many services available to you. And the team felt that this was a critical time where services are really needed and that we may be able to help the family much sooner and give them the tools they need much sooner if we were to provide some pre-adjudication services. This could be something as simple as a bus pass to get to school or something more significant, counseling and the like. I understand that there are legal issues that center around this. So if you haven't been found guilty, you can't be made to participate in services. You are not technically on probation, but this was an area that we saw where there was a need. And so I'm looking forward to identifying creative ways to meet this need for those who are interested in participating at a sooner point in the process. We are still looking to get a therapeutically designed mental health space in the facility. We have 3 units currently operating. And while we have an office on one of the units, it's not therapeutically designed. There's a big desk, it takes up most of the space and like an office chair. And so our youth have some of them have extensive trauma histories and mental health needs, and providing them a therapeutic space to receive services is in their best interest and will help with their rehabilitation. We have an extensive wait still for eyeglasses. While it's no longer a year, it can be up to 6 months. And for kids who don't see well, that makes it hard for them to attend school, makes it hard for them to participate in programming. I've talked extensively with correctional health and the head nurse, and it looks as though the issue currently is they don't have the eye doctor. Getting the exam is the hard part. They can make the glasses in a few days, but so we need to find an additional eye doctor to perform the exams. That's what the wait is, just getting to the doctor. And then we have the ongoing issues with the food. That's been an issue every year since we stopped making meals at the juvenile hall. That stopped during the pandemic. And there's been a problem. The kids have complained of the food, of being hungry, of the quality of the food ever since it started to be made at the county jail. Next up is the Department of Public Works. I found out that the Department of Public Works is who is responsible for fixing these gates and these holes in the ground and these nesting birds and all of these things, maintenance issues at the juvenile hall. falls to the Department of Public Works. But unfortunately, the county's procurement process is antiquated and it takes a significant amount of time. So you'll notice 3 years ago, we recommended installing shelving for the individual cells and replacing the floor, that the flooring in the housing unit is stained and damaged beyond repair, and it's really filthy. And it needs to be replaced, but the superintendent informs me that she made orders over 2 years ago. And these items are still stuck in procurement. And the estimated time of when this work can be done is not until next year or the following year. So the 2026, 2027 cycle. So we've got a serious problem. Kids should not be without storage and should not go without adequate flooring for several years due to this process. So we'll have to make a point when we go in front of the Board of Supervisors to point out how this process is impacting our kids at the hall.
Through the chair,
Yes.
obviously, they're in non-compliance. So if there's a way to find out how to get maybe some information from the state so that perhaps we can light a fire underneath the, the Board of Supervisors, because that's unacceptable.
Thank you. Thank you. Another issue with Public Works is it's with pest control. They're in charge of pest control, and they set up these little tents all over the YSC, in the lobby, in the courts, everywhere. And as you can see in this photograph, it doesn't just catch bugs. It actually catches lizards, and some of these are endangered species. And there's bait stations that are about the size of a 50-cent piece that are dangerous. Young kids come in there and could easily pick that up. So we're gonna let the Department of Public Works know that, one, the pest control, the way they have it set up now is really not targeting the pests that they're going after. And we'll go ahead and share our safety concerns about these. I don't know what we're paying for these services, but from the looks of things, it might be a bit too much. So our recommendations, aside from what I mentioned earlier, we feel that the current Phoenix program is not robust enough, and it does not include all youth. So there are criteria that must be met to participate in this staff-led program. Staff is the sole, they're the sole entry point. So staff determines who is eligible to participate in this reentry program. And our concern is, while we acknowledge youth who are doing well and we celebrate their successes and want them to participate in this programming, we're also concerned about the youth who aren't doing well and the ones who aren't programming well and need additional services and who will be released and need some reentry, regardless of how they're behaving in the juvenile hall. So what we're asking is that the Phoenix program, which right now consists of once you enter the Phoenix program, it's typically between 90 days to 6 months before you're leaving, depending upon how long your commitment was. And you can leave the facility to go to the DMV and get an ID to take your driver's license test. In one case, we had a youth attend college 1 day a week and also get home passes. All of those things are wonderful, but they don't provide employment. They don't provide key things that you need when you're incarcerated for an extended period of time. In some cases, kids may be incarcerated, you come in at 16, you leave when you're 18, your clothes don't even fit anymore. And now you're an adult and maybe your family doesn't have the resources to purchase the new clothing. So what we're asking is that the Phoenix program be looked at and do a full review of it. What's working, what's not working. Parents and youth both reported that they didn't feel that the Phoenix program was adequate to meet their needs. And so we want to find out, is the program viable? Can it be revamped to meet the needs of the kids, or should it be discontinued and contracted out? And is the probation department the best folks are they best equipped to deliver these type of services? We know that Fly does a good job with reentry. They have a specific piece that they play. This is reentry, sort of like transition while they're still in the hall, going out into the community. Another recommendation that we had was to extend the amount of time a youth can stay on reentry services with Fly. During this inspection cycle, they were limited to 9 months, and parents, youth, and some of the folks from Fly felt that extending that to 12 months might better serve the youth. Lastly, I would like to do our accommodations for group supervisors Karencita, Gonzalez, Mejia, Owens, Stewart, and Vargas. They work on the housing unit with the youth, and they are dedicated to helping the youth achieve their rehabilitative goals. And I also like to recognize group supervisors Whitley and Van, who work in admissions and do an exceptional job interacting with the public, informing the families of processes and protocols. And of course, our academic counselor, Lauren Speed. So this is a lengthy report. What I've shared here are just some of the highlights, some of the issues that are either ongoing or new. And so I'd like to open it up to any questions. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chair, for that extensive report or comprehensive report that has been shared with us. I was wondering when can we get more information on the Phoenix program, or can they present to us? I don't know if I'm the only one this is the first time I've heard of them. And if they are, and what their program components are. I know that you just reported on some of the things that need to be progressive in terms of reentry. But I don't see how they could be a wraparound component to some of the students and the inmates coming out of juvenile hall. Mm-hmm. So just wanting to see how we can kind of zoom in on their work. And if Fly is the reentry component, how can we work on some of the components that need to be strengthened through Phoenix program? Are they on the call? Are they here?
No, unfortunately, probation is not here again this month. So it puts us at a disadvantage when we have questions about what's happening with the program. But it is a staff-led program, so it's not a contract.
Oh, it's not like a separate entity.
No, it's done by the probation staff. I believe it's Miss Davila who runs the program. And like I said, they make the selection process on who participates. And I think what we're looking at is we're just wanting to widen that net and make sure that we're providing more comprehensive services.
Right. I'm just saying that because as an example, one of the inmates who will be discharged, is that the word? Released, sorry. They're looking to partner with Anamatangi for what that reentry to society is. And because we have the family-centered approach and the wraparound holistic approach, and knowing that the family needs support in terms of language and cultural, the cultural nuances, that's more my thinking is in how can we amplify what Phoenix is doing, but also partnering with the local organizations who can render support.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think that there are pieces of this reentry that cannot be fully done by probation staff, and it does take a village. And if we're going to serve these kids, we have to get creative about how we do that. And I think the cultural piece is huge. I think we need to meet parents where they are and lift them up and help them with their children.
That's an excellent idea. I think suggesting that whoever is programming through Phoenix have appropriate contacts in the community to amplify can only make their work more powerful and more attuned to the needs of the youth.
I mean, let's just be honest, they have a lot more resources and reach in terms of funding and resources.
So when the student comes to me, I'm basically looking to leverage more resources, but why not start with the county? Why not start where they just came from? But yeah, I think that that's something that we need to explore as a commission, and all the aspects of the programs that the students and the inmates have access to. I know Paul Bocanegra, a few of us on the commission who run nonprofit organizations and have access and fly. Also, and just seeing how we can leverage one another's capacity, even though we're all on a shoestring budget. But once he's released in my care, and I'm having to design and curate a program for him and his whole family. And so what does that look like? And how do I continue that, building that template for more pathways for other inmates?
Isn't the idea that should have started while the youth was in detention? So that should be kind of a continuum of care.
Right.
And to allow that to happen, you need to be involved earlier in the process. And do we have a good understanding of the Phoenix program? Do you feel like we do?
Yeah. I feel like I do. I feel we don't have any materials, so we could certainly request the written materials. But I think that it provides a piece, like we said, it provides a piece and maybe a valuable piece, but it's not comprehensive and it's not enough.
It's a good starting point.
Right. So one of the things that the Vice Chair and myself forgot to mention during the probation update is that we received word that Sanam Aram is going to be retiring at the end of next month. And so once her replacement is identified, maybe we could request a meeting and talk about reentry services and what they might look like going forward. Anyone else have any questions? Yes, Commissioner Bocanegra.
Regarding the Phoenix program, we should definitely request what their curricula looks like. And also there should be some sort of data that they can provide the commission on how well, like what's the litmus test on the success rate for Phoenix program participants. And like Tiffany mentioned a minute ago, we run 501c3s, we do reentry, and I'm curious to know who their referral sources are, because I've never been contacted by the Phoenix program to say, hey, Paul or Re-Evolution, we have this kid that could really use your mentor services or reentry services. And from what it sounds like South County, Anamatangi there in EPA, who's also highly represented, hasn't received a referral request from your organization either. So I'd be curious to look at who their referral resources are, so we could tap into that and figure out or take a look at how that handoff looks from the Phoenix program to the referral source in the community, whether it's housing, reentry, education, food, all the things that we deal with in these, buying them shoes or clothes for school. The other thing that I wanted to mention, a question that I had was, there was no data provided by the probation department for this inspection.
They did provide one data point. They said that there were no out-of-county youth that participated in EMP last year. So for this inspection report, they did provide that piece of data. They did provide minute data for Camp and some small data for Secure Track. But as you'll see in the first few pages, that we always get that, gives us a snapshot. Who's there, for how long, where are they from, what's going on? We lack that this year, unfortunately.
Do we know what the proper vehicle would be to demand? Like what do? We obviously haven't heard from our council representative. Can we contact an outside organization, maybe to request a FOIA? Like, how do we get the data that is needed to provide a transparent inspection report to our community, our concerned community, regarding how these youth are being treated and how they are existing with their tax dollars in our
I agree. This is a state mandated inspection. This is not just something that we do because we like doing it. This is something that we're mandated to do. There's very clear guidelines, and I have to say that it was quite shocking to not receive any data, especially after receiving it year after year.
Well, especially
And-
after reading all the lawsuits of sexual abuse, that's public information, is concerning to me that they are not being cooperative or transparent when there's an inspection. This is our obligation to the community to perform these inspections and then report to the community what's going on in here. And what I'm hearing today is that not county council nor the probation has provided us the necessary data that we need to report transparently to the community. And how do we get that?
So I know that Chief Keen has offered to meet with me to discuss this, but unfortunately he's been out on medical leave. And so I'm looking forward to having that conversation. I'm also concerned. I want to find out from Peter Cruz what his involvement was as far as, because it seems contrary to the county's mandate here that they would interfere in some way with that data, preventing that data. Yes, yes, county council. Just seems, it seems unusual that here we are, an appointed commission, joint commission, and this is our mandate. And we've always done this. And then, so I don't know that it was county council who shut this down. I don't know who shut it down. I just know that it's data that we need. And that I think one of the things that may help us going forward is if we collectively decided to move our inspection period with the fiscal year to match the fiscal year. And it really, that's only bringing it up a month, like from June. That may make it easier for us to get data on our own when it's not provided to us. That's an option, and it's not too difficult to change. I would just need an agreement with the probation department that they would honor the new timeline. But that, at least we could obtain our own data if it was refused. But it's a priority that we get the data, and it's a priority that we figure out what happened, and hopefully we can get this back on track.
We can't do our jobs without the data.
Yeah.
We can't do our jobs without the data. And, from looking at history, we need to keep track of the data here in San Mateo County, especially within the probation department. We got a really, not so good history here, and we are still in the middle of that. This is not the time to be redacting or refusing to provide the data that's needed to get these reports. And so I'd be interested in hearing from the public what you think about no data being in these inspection reports. Like for all the parents that have children on probation, if they're coming to your home, or if your kids are incarcerated right now, you should contact your supervisor and let them know that you need to have that data made transparent so we can do our jobs properly. That's the whole purpose of this commission.
Yeah.
And I've been in those cages, and I've suffered abuse, trauma, gladiator fights, all of the above. So I know what happens in there. And I'm just saying that we need to be transparent when it comes to our kids. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Questions, comments? Yes.
I was wondering as to, in the event that we pursue like a FOIA request and they still do not comply with our request for data, would we be open to pursuing more concrete action if this data is not received, especially because Keen is obviously out on medical leave? That creates like a huge goal for us to achieve this very vital information. Like he just mentioned, this is what we need to do our job. Is there someone, perhaps a liaison, that could fill in during his time out so we could have a meeting more soon than just when he comes back?
Well, I think he comes back next week, so I don't think it's going to be that long of a period.
Yeah.
But I think that, in my experience, I think it's best to meet with him since he is the
Absolutely.
chief,
Mhm.
and maybe make him aware of what's happened, and
Mhm.
maybe he has the power to fix it.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful that we can fix it.
Correct. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Wade, Maria Wade,
Yeah.
also really reached out and made what I thought was a gesture of goodwill, trying to set in place better processes.
Yes. Yes.
Moving forward.
So we're looking
Is there
for-
any, it's just a suggestion, and I don't know if this was ever presented, to the commission, of the report being, sort of interpreted into sort of a newsletter that's more digestible for our community to read. I'm just thinking, like, saying along the lines of what Paul is saying, is not just for the data and for us to provide funding and improve, but it's also to build and continue the trust in our community. And trust with government systems and institutions are just, they don't exist. So, I mean, that could be something that, again, that if the commission can take on one of these simple tasks, is creating a digital newsletter that kind of interprets the report into something that is more digestible and can resonate with the community and really see what, and share what our objectives and our goals are. And it can really, I'm just thinking out loud, and,
Yeah.
you know, folks can just chime in whenever they feel like it, but I'm just saying, because there's just such a block with the system, and we're running into walls, it feels like, we have to create something that the community kind of feels like we are speaking for them. And it has to be a mechanism or a tool that says, like, we're this middleman, but we also can give you bits and pieces of what we're working on, and also some of the data that we've been shared, and the inspection reports.
That's
Just
an
a-
excellent idea. We'll have to determine how we can do that, what that looks like, and who will be tasked with that, but that's an excellent idea. Thank you.
I think additionally, if we were to pursue like this type of newsletter, it could be a really valuable opportunity to, just as my fellow commissioner brought up, to encourage the community of people who have children or family members that are in these institutions to, you know, write their representatives and like voice their opinions about how this lack of transparency is really detrimental to public trust with government institutions, and how it's, you know, creating a major barrier for boards like, or commissions like us, the JJDPC, for doing our job and serving these people that are in these institutions. And I think that could be a very valuable platform to get them to, you know, voice their.
Thank you. Yes.
I just wanted to add with that, we're hopeful that the process will be strengthened and these barriers removed going forward. But should that not happen, that would be an excellent way to elevate the issue. However, even if that is the case, there are so many issues that can be elevated and pressure brought to bear, like on the Department of Public Works, to create some motivation for change that could have an immediate impact on the lives and the well-being and the rehabilitative goals of the youth in the hall right now. So I do think that's an excellent idea, to be able to somehow, and maybe it's part of the process of distilling the information into kind of powerful, you know, the recommendations that you've outlined. As we do that for the Board of Supervisors, that one of the other objectives would be to create a document for the community to inform them at the same time and rally support in the community. I know we have some strong voices who are willing to stand up.
Yes, we do.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from commissioners before we open this up to public comment? Okay.
Yes, so we do have one speaker slip submitted. So when I call your name, please grab a mic and proceed with your comment. I'd like to call Becca Keeler. You will have 3 minutes. You can start.
Thank you. I'm kind of not sure where to start here, because we've been through so much of this before. But first, I just want to say I really want to commend JJDPC and all of you for the work you do from your hearts and pulling together all of this for the kids, and knowing that these are our kids. They're not throwaway kids. They're kids that are coming back into our community. Thank you for this, seriously. There is, what we in the community want is, we want rehabilitation, not just punitive punishment for these kids. And there is a quote I want to read to you by Dr. Gilligan, and it is, "The greatest driver of violence is shame." The greatest driver of violence is shame. And these kids do not need to be shamed. They need to be uplifted. You guys have done several wonderful programs, the music program, your program that is a clothing program for the courts that give these kids a sense of pride, which is something that they need. They don't need just shame. They need pride. They need building back up. So I just want to say things like requiring the kids when they're out of their locked cells, requiring them to walk with their hands behind their backs is humiliating and shameful. And I'd like to say the community would like to see this stopped. It's not happening in other counties, surrounding counties. Please stop this. In regards to the report, it's disturbing to say the very least. This is a legally mandated commission, and these reports are legally mandated. And you, the commission and probation should be working hand in hand together, should not be having information kept from you. This is just insane to me as a community member. And I've grown up here. I spent my whole life here. So this is not the way we should be interacting. In the 4 to 5 years that I've been watching what this commission has been doing, it's the same information. The same information is being presented again, the same recommendations. It's a very lengthy report. I agree. Love your idea. Although I hope the Board of Supervisors reads the whole thing. They need to. It's the same issues and the same recommendations, and that nobody is taking any action on this is criminal, quite frankly. So I just want to say the public has had enough of this. We've had enough of this. It needs to be changed. There needs to be action taken on these recommendations that you folks have all made, and the public is going to be supporting you. Comment. We will be supporting. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Do we have any?
Thank you, Becca. We do. We actually do have a raised hand on Zoom. So when so Fix and San Mateo and Clara. So I'll begin with Fix and San Mateo. When I mute you, you can say your public comment.
Hi, sorry, I can't change my Zoom name on this. I'm Nancy Goodman. I live in Redwood City. And thank you, Becca, for that comment. I totally agree that this has been going on for a long time with nothing happening. And especially thank you to the commissioners who put this report together. I am just so sorry that probation is not here to hear the comments on the report. I'm really disappointed. It seems like there's such a lack of cooperation from probation. They're using my tax dollars. And what are they doing? They should, at minimum, come to the meetings and comply with legal requirements to respond to JJDPC, which is mandated to gather this information, as you said earlier, Commissioner Bocanegra, and provide oversight. I do agree with all of the recommendations. I read through it, and yes, it's long, but it's powerful. I'm especially concerned about the conditions. People walking with their hands behind the back, they're punished by taking away hygiene items, taking away their MP3 players, their food is bad. And what really sticks out is 3 suicide attempts, 6 kids talking about suicide. That's new this year, and it's not because there's more kids there, but it sounds like the conditions are really bad. They're fighting. If there was rehab and programming, maybe it'd give the kids something to do and they wouldn't have to fight. So honestly, we can do better in this county, and I'm terribly disappointed to hear what you found in this report. Thank you for all you've done.
Thank you, Nancy. Just a little reminder, if you are in the room in person and want a public comment, just fill out the speaker slip and hand it over to me and I can read your name. Thank you. We do have another one online, Clara. I'm gonna give you permission to speak and you may begin with your comment.
Thank you so much. Yeah, my name is Clara Jekyll. I live in Redwood City. And I just wanted to say, I mean, I agree with everything that the previous speaker said. I also just wanted to say about the Phoenix program that I understand that we want to incentivize youth and give them, reasons to want to be on good behavior. But it seems like it's especially the kids who are having a hard time doing that, who will also have a harder time when they're released and they're trying to come back into the community. And so I was concerned to hear, that it might be denied to them, and that it would be really good to have programs that are available regardless of their behavior so that we can set them up for the most success when they're coming back into the community. Thanks.
Thank you. We do have a few speaker slips submitted. I'm just waiting. I believe.
Want to read the comment that we received while we're waiting for the speaker?
Or she's right here, right here. Yeah. So Melissa, you will be given 3 minutes to speak. For your public
I have
comment.
some general comments, but before that, my name's Melissa Wilson. I was a commissioner for 7 years. We are able to hold hearings as part of our legally defined scope of actions. And at those hearings, the judge can subpoena and require attendance and testimony of witnesses and the production of papers. And I think that that needs to be the conversation to have with the judge, which is some of these meetings have to be hearings with where information is subpoenaed. With the rest of my time, the last time I was here, I offered the idea that the commission consider doing a no confidence vote on John Keane. And that was because of the lack of secure track programming and step down programming and the toxic environment that was available to youth. And this week, it's about the many issues identified in the inspection reports, such as the refusal to provide data to the commission, incorrect information on the website, incomplete information in the youth and parent handbook, non-notification of the commission of significant operational changes and incidents, the food, the eyeglasses, walking with the hands behind the back, housing mixed populations in the same housing unit, staff training needs on the right of education, the Youth Bill of Rights, discipline, and violations of the Youth Bill of Rights. So the question is, does John Keane not know there are problems, which seems impossible, or is he unwilling or unable to solve the problems? And the question I think that we all have to look at in this room is, how much more time needs to pass? We've heard the same complaints for at least 7 years, 8 years, 9 years. We've heard the same issues, almost no progress on any of them. How much more time needs to pass before you, as an individual commissioner, are comfortable saying that our kids need more and that his leadership is not sufficient to achieve this?
Thank you. Thank you, Melissa. I'd like to call Barbara Taylor up to the podium, and you'll be given 3 minutes to speak, or Mike right here, sorry.
Good evening, Barbara Taylor, she, her, resident of San Carlos. When I received the report this year, I looked back to the notes that I took when I read the first report when I first became interested and involved in 2022. And we see the same thing over and over and over again. And I know all of us in this room are incredibly frustrated that we're not seeing the progress that we need, and the cooperation from probation is reducing. They're not working in partnership with us. They're not working in partnership with you. You have your legal mandate. They're not working in partnership with the community. And we all want what is best for these children and the youth in there. I'm deeply concerned about this lack of cooperation, and would ask that we do give a lot of thought around how we hold probation accountable for this. You have a legal mandate. Surely there must be some legal obligation somewhere that compels them to provide this information. If not, how can we engage in activism to get this information? Can we submit public access requests? What legal basis? Is there a little key there, some piece of legislation that we can leverage? I love the idea of bringing out and condensing the information, bringing out the families, bringing out the community to advocate for more cooperation from probation, not only to give you the information that you need, but also to ensure that the changes that have been existing for so many years are made, because they are long overdue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Last call for public comment on Zoom and in person. So we actually received a written public comment this morning from, Kenny will read it.
Thank you to the chair. We received a written public comment for item number 5 from Beth Von Emster yesterday morning around 11 a.m. And this is the comment. My name is Beth Von Emster and I'm a Belmont resident. I'm deeply alarmed by the matters addressed in the Commission's annual inspection report of Hillcrest. Incarcerated children must rank highest among our community's most vulnerable people, separated from their families in harsh and unfamiliar surroundings. They are at the mercy of those entrusted with their care. Juvenile justice commissions exist with the statutory mandate to be the eyes and ears of our community, ensuring oversight to protect against harm and abuse. Probation's outright refusal to provide the most basic data about these children in their care could not be more alarming. It is incumbent on the Commission to continue demanding this information and on our elected officials and the judiciary to pressure probation into complying with their obligations. Probation has been routinely supplying this information for many years, and their refusal to do so this year represents a sharp departure that raises profoundly troubling questions about the confinement of these children. We, the public, must demand action. The report also details crushingly brutal conditions too numerous to mention, which continue despite the Commission raising them repeatedly year over year. The Commission's report should be required reading for every public official with influence in probation's operation and would be a compelling subject of media attention. The public needs to know what's going on here.
And through the chair, we printed a few extra copies for commissioners to take home if they would like a copy of the written public comment. Thank you.
I appreciate that. That was nice. Thank you.
Through the chair,
Okay, yes,
I have a comment.
yes.
I just want to share with everyone, members of the public who are listening to our meeting tonight and in the future, is so the JJDPC does exist due to the Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Act of 1974. And in order for us, for the states to be in compliance, for us to receive federal funding, we do need, states do need to comply with the JJDPA standards, and that also trickles down to county level. So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you for providing that information. Did you have a question, Vice Chair? No? Okay, all right. So with that, then I am looking for a motion to approve the 2024 annual inspection report. Of course, there's typos, there's, some structure that needs to be changed, but the overall substance of the report, I'm looking for a motion to approve the report.
I'll make that motion with it noted that there will be amendments to correct wording.
Yes.
To provide missing data.
Yeah, if the data comes in, then I will add it in.
Then we'll
Yeah.
make that amendment. So I'll make that motion.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Bocanegra.
Second.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead. All right, Commissioner Clemmer is seconding that motion. All right, roll call, please.
First, Commissioner Huber Levy. Commissioner Uhila Hatao.
Aye.
Commissioner Ali.
Aye.
Commissioner Blanco.
Aye.
Commissioner Bocanegra.
Aye.
Commissioner Ginevra.
Aye.
Commissioner Clemmer.
Aye.
Commissioner Nori.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
And Chair Rasmussen.
Aye. Thank you all so much. And thank you to the public who took the time to read the report and come and give public comment. It's appreciated. Okay, moving on. Next is our operating policies for 2025. I'm going to pass the microphone to Vice Chair Huber Levy.
This is commission business and left over from our general annual meeting, which was in January, which was jam-packed. I hope everyone had an opportunity, all the commissioners had an opportunity to review the operating policies. It's a lot of important information for us, and ensures that we operate effectively. After the meeting, we'll have a short review of some of the key provisions that we should all keep in mind. And just a reminder that the operating policies are in our Google Drive. So for all of our commissioners, please refer to it when you have questions and know it's a living document that we review every year. Chair Rasmussen and I discussed it and made appropriate small revisions to make sure it's always up to date and reflects the matters that we discuss in our meetings on how best to work together and be effective in our work. So we will ask for a vote at this point to approve our operating policies for, we'll have a motion to vote on approving our operating policies for 2025.
Yeah, I have a motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Yay. Thank you so much. Okay.
Commissioner Huber Levy,
Aye.
Commissioner Uhila Hatao,
Aye.
Commissioner Ali,
Aye.
Commissioner, okay, thank you. Commissioner Blanco, Commissioner Bocanegra,
Aye.
Commissioner Ginevro,
Aye.
Commissioner Clemmer,
Aye.
Commissioner Nori, Commissioner Williams, and Chair Rasmussen.
Aye, thank you so much. Oh, okay, can we do it at the end of the item?
We can.
Okay. Item B under operating policies is our 2025 liaison and roles. I know I sent out under the Juvenile Justice Commission that doesn't have to comply with the Brown Act. I sent out some information over the last month, but was there any delinquency prevention matters that we wanted to bring up and discuss as far as liaisons and roles for 2025? No? Okay. So it looks as though we still have 3 openings left. So please, commissioners, go into the Google Drive. And if you have the capacity to serve in one of these spaces, please feel free to add your name to that. And then this year, we're going to go back and a couple years ago, we had the practice of every month, we'd have a few report outs from our liaisons. So we all could stay up to date with what you were up to. So we're going to start that again this year. So please review your current roles, make sure that they still work for you, and sign up for any additional roles that might be available that are of interest to you. Okay, and so now we'd like to call public comment, please.
Members of the public, if you would like to comment on this agenda item, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom or bring a speaker slip up to the clerk during this time. We don't have any on Zoom, any in person, no? Back to you, Chair.
Thank you so much. Next up is our commission vision for 2025. This is another item that is technically discussed at our annual meeting. We had the inspection reports last month and we had a lot, we got a late start, so we carried some things over to this month. So Vice Chair Huber Levy and myself, we met for 3 hours and discussed about, yeah, it certainly did, about what we put out. I sent out an email to each of you on Juvenile Justice Commission matters, asking what was important to you this year. That was the top 3 things that you all put in the Google Drive, what was important to you. So Commissioner Huber Levy and I met and we took everybody's answers and we compiled them and said, okay, this is what the vision should be for this year. So top of that list was Camp Kemp. What will happen to Camp Kemp? What are we going to do with that facility? How can it be used to meet unmet needs of our incarcerated youth and youth who are transitioning from incarceration? So that is a top priority. Secure track programming, step downs, least restrictive placements. That is second. And state legislation, making sure that we are following up, that we are informed, and we are aware of what's happening statewide.
And supporting.
Yes, signing on when appropriate through the Juvenile Justice Commission. And And we actually have an item that's coming up next on that. So that was our combined feedback of everybody, what's important, what our vision will be. And a lot of the things, if you go back and look at that list, you'll see that they fall under one of those three categories. They might be more detailed, but they fall under that category. So this item doesn't require a vote. Was there any discussion that anyone wanted to participate in? Anything that you want to highlight or make sure that's in, that I didn't mention? Okay. All right, do we need to call public comment? Okay, thank you.
If you would like to comment on agenda item 7, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom or bring a speaker slip up to the clerk at this time. No public comment. Back to you, Chair.
Okay, for the next item, I'm going to pass the microphone to Vice Chair Huber Levy.
Okay, so this agenda item is falling under C part of our commission vision for 2025, which is an opportunity to be aware of and to support some legislation that has just been introduced in Assembly. And it is briefly called the Hunger Survey. And it is, we included the one pager in the agenda packet.
Yes, the actual text of the bill.
Yeah, so the bill was read already, so it is public information, AB 802. It was introduced by Assembly Member Sharp Collins, who is a new Assembly member from the 79th District, she was elected in November 24, and she represents Southeast San Diego, El Cajon, La Mesa, Lemon Grove, and the unincorporated communities of Bonita, La Presa, and Spring Valley. And Dr. Lachey Sharp Collins apparently visited Juvenile Hall in San Diego and was extremely concerned with the conditions there, and particularly concerned about the nutritional needs of juveniles not being met. And not surprisingly, this echoed around the state. There's a lot of concern, and we were contacted by the policy, Colin Ford, who's the policy advisor. I think I'm not getting his title completely right, but he's our policy contact for this, and he provided us with kind of a heads up on this, and it's very exciting. It's been introduced by the Prosecutors Alliance, which is a group of reform-minded prosecutors in California who are concerned with working collaboratively to improve and elevate the rights of youth in the juvenile justice system. So briefly, this piece of legislation purports to empower juvenile justice commissions to be responsible to administer or work with a local community-based organization to administer at least every 2 years a survey of any persons under 26 years of age in a county juvenile hall lockup, camp, or other facility used for confinement to ascertain whether the nutritional needs of young people are being met, and then to make public recommendations to prevent hunger and promote healthy development. Kind of what we've been talking about for quite a few years. So we were excited to hear this. The bill has been read. There will be an opportunity for us to comment and an opportunity to amend the bill before its first committee hearing, which is in late March or early April. There is also an opportunity to introduce this and to make sure that other JJCs around the state have an opportunity to know about this and to provide their input. So this is something that is definitely going to be paid a lot of attention to statewide. And just again, very briefly, the current wording does emphasize that meeting caloric minimums is in itself not adequate to address hunger and nutrition, and also that the survey reports will be published on county probation or juvenile justice commission websites, and remedial or corrective actions taken will also be published. So I think this is really good news, and stay tuned, and I hope everybody reads it, and we'd love your comments and input on what you think is missing or what belongs in here. How, and also to be thoughtful about what potential barriers are. And one barrier that Chair Rasmussen and I discussed immediately is that The quality of the data will be very important, and someone is going to have to pay for an appropriate survey to be done. And whether that's through a community-based organization that's given a budget for this, or the Juvenile Justice Commission is given a budget to ensure that it's done in a professional manner that will stand up and become part of the public record with data that can be used going forward.
It's my understanding that this is currently with the Public Safety Committee. Is that correct? Vice Chair, he really is in the Public Safety
I think
Committee.
it's going to the public safety.
Okay.
Committee in order to-
Okay. So we're bringing this forward so we can, we include it in the agenda packet so you could review it. And what we'd like to do is we'd like to sign on, officially sign on as the Juvenile Justice Commission of San Mateo County, to sign on to this bill, meaning we're endorsing it, because this has been an ongoing issue here, and this specifically talks about juvenile justice commissions having an avenue to make change when it comes to food and nutrition. So what I'm looking for is I guess we would need a roll call vote, but we don't need do we need a motion? Okay, so I'm looking for a motion and for our commission to write a letter of support, supporting AB 802. Do I have a motion? Okay, second? Okay, so Commissioner Nori and Vice Chair Huber Levy. All right, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Huber Levy.
Aye.
Commissioner Uhila Hatao.
Aye.
Commissioner Ali.
Aye.
Commissioner Blanco.
Aye.
Commissioner Bocanegra.
Aye.
Commissioner Ginevra.
Aye.
Commissioner Clemmer. He's in the rush. Oh, yeah. Commissioner Nori. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
And Chair Rasmussen.
Aye. Thank you all so much. It passes unanimously. To the chair. Yes, we need public comment.
Well, I just, before
Yeah.
public comment, I'd like to recommend that when we meet with the other county commissioners at your next meeting, we might want to brief conversation regarding this.
Thank
bill.
you. Thank you. Okay, public comment?
Members of the public, if you would like to comment on agenda item 8, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom or bring a speaker slip up to the clerk at this time. I believe we have none online and none in person. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you so much. So next up is an item that came up. It's about maintaining the confidentiality of youth in detention. And as some of you may remember, we met in closed session several months ago to talk about some concerning things that we were seeing in the newspaper, information that was being released, both names, birth dates, and personal information of youth that's intended to be kept confidential. And so Vice Chair Huber Levy and myself wrote a letter to the District Attorney, Steve Wagstaff, and the letter is included in the agenda packet, asking that he partner with us and that he refrain from sharing confidential information with the media. It was actually Vice Chair Huber Levy who drafted the letter, and it's really a phenomenal letter. She cites case law, all the reasons why our juvenile justice system is set up the way it is, and how we are all supposed to be partners in that endeavor. And we're all supposed to be following the same rules and offering children the same protections. Unfortunately, this letter was sent on November 21st. And unfortunately, we did not hear back from Steve. I sent a follow-up. Hey, Steve, just in case you didn't see the letter, we'd love to hear from you. Didn't hear anything. But we did hear from Nadia Hahn. And so we're grateful to Ms. Hahn, who's here tonight, who has conveyed that she has had an opportunity to meet with Steve. And he is interested in meeting to discuss this further. So we felt that it was important, being that we met as a body about this and how concerned we were that we brought this forward to the public. And we hope, when did we get word about Steve wanting to meet? Was that today?
2 days ago.
Okay, so after the agenda packet went out, so that's good. We're making progress. And so we'll look forward to reporting back on how those conversations went. Now, I also want to give our district attorney Nadia Khan an opportunity to speak if there's anything you'd like to add.
No, thank you, Joanna. We did talk about also the issues in your letter. You're correct that Steve's willing to meet and discuss it at any time. Kind of where we are right now as an office with the issue, I think addresses a couple of the concerns that your letter raised. The first one is the use of full names, which is going to be discontinued. So it'll be use of first name and last initial only, as well as date of birth. That'll be left out of communications with the press. And then in terms of there being personal, I think your letter indicated medical information. We went back and we're looking at some past press notes to try to discern when that had happened and under what circumstances, because it's not something that we would typically include or that Steve would typically include in press notes. But maybe that's something that can be brought up in your conversation with him if there's specific examples of that.
Yes, thank you very much. Appreciate that. We'll absolutely bring those. I may even have copies of those press notes, so I could bring those to the meeting and show him. So thank you so much. Thank you. I know you were the one who started this conversation and helped us start to get some resolution. So I appreciate your efforts.
Can we get that in writing? Just update.
Oh, so that's your new policy now, the district attorney's new policy. Is that, one of our commissioners just asked, is that in writing anywhere? Is that been put into an official, like the district attorney's office will no longer, is it official or is it?
Yeah. It's not really, we don't have a written policy on that topic as it stands, so that, any change to that policy wouldn't, it's not going to go into our policy and procedure manual. Because I think, especially for juvenile cases, it's really a case-by-case basis. Most cases are confidential or not public hearings, and no information can be shared about them at all. And then even among the public hearing cases, there's a very limited number that have any public interest that Steve would even be sharing information about. So I don't know that there will be any kind of blanket policy because each case has to be decided individually. But if you're interested in having a written response, I'm sure that Steve would be open to that.
Okay, great. I think that's what you're looking for, Commissioner. Okay, thank you so much, Nadia. I'm grateful for your time and for your efforts to get this resolved. Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Nadia. I really appreciate that. And I know that, we're all part of the same juvenile court system, working together. And I just wanted to restate that on the county website, the DA office does state they're supportive of the objectives of, the juvenile court system was established with the belief that children could be successfully rehabilitated through intensive counseling, education, and guidance, rather than punishing them in the adult criminal justice system. So I really appreciate the fact that we're working together on this in the best interests of the youth.
Thank you. Can we take public comment on this?
Yes.
So I do have a speaker slip submitted.
Okay.
Arnold, can you please grab a mic? And you'll be given 3 minutes. Sorry, hold on, I have the timer. Okay. Speak whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Arnold Morales, and I have a son who has been affected by this very policy that we're discussing. The first thing I would like to ask, if it's not too much, what is the policy? I may be wrong. I read some things and heard some things, but I was under the understanding that if the offense of the juvenile is such that it poses a danger to the community and it's a certain level of crime, then the DA has the ability to provide the name to the media, calling for safety of the community. Early on in my son's case, Mr. Wagstaff labeled my son a danger to the community and a flight risk without knowing any details of the case. No, obviously, this hits right in the heart because I am extremely afraid of my son and my family's safety because of the publicity that the case has received. And I did understand that the charges were such that, as far as what I understood, was that he could legally provide the name to the media. But later in the case, the murder charge was taken away or downgraded to manslaughter. And as far as I understand, that prevents or does not allow the DA to release the name. But that has continued. And I just don't understand if there's not a clear policy. What is the policy? I like to understand, because if it's due and there's risk for my family and my son, I definitely like to know, because I believe if somebody does something wrong, such as what my son did, and he's been held accountable, we've gone through the process, and the process is somewhat over now, but I would like to feel like somebody else is accountable for when they do something wrong. And I may be wrong about this, but I feel there's something happening where people that should know better are doing things wrong, and it looks like nobody holds them accountable. So I guess I definitely like an answer from the DA that is present. And what can you simplify the process of when it's okay to release somebody's name and when it's not?
I can try. I guess the short answer would be that it's not exactly simple. There's a number of different statutes that deal with juvenile confidentiality, and depending on the type of crime that affects what information is public at what stage of the proceedings. For the specific charges that you just mentioned, both sets of charges are listed in the public hearing statute. So both homicide and manslaughter are both public hearings. So that wouldn't necessarily, the change of charges wouldn't necessarily affect confidentiality in that case. I think the other part of it that makes it difficult to say this is the blanket rule for all cases is that, we may have, for instance, 2 homicide cases that come in. One of them, there's a lot of public interest in, and there are a lot of inquiries to the office about it because it has garnered public attention for whatever reason. And there may be another case where there aren't those kinds of inquiries and there isn't as much attention. So that may not be one that is communicated in press notes because there just isn't a need for it. But I do know that DA Wagstaff wants to balance exactly what was brought up in the commission's letter about the importance of maintaining juvenile confidentiality, even when maybe we're legally entitled to share that information. There still may not be a need for it, with being transparent with the public and providing the public and the press with information that they're requesting and that they're entitled to. So in trying to achieve that balance, I think is where it's difficult to say this is the one approach that will be applied in every case.
We do have a commitment that last names and date of births and medical information will not be released, correct?
Yes, that's what came from our discussion. And I think that's been the practice for haven't gone back to review when it exactly started, but I know that for names and date of birth, that's been the practice in the recent press notes, and that's going to continue.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Mr. Morales, for coming to our meeting. Yes, Ron.
This has been an ongoing issue for quite some time. We put a lot of effort into it. We have made some strides on it from beginning with prohibiting the youth's name being listed on a court calendar posted out in the public, prohibiting the use of youth full name in open court and public hearing. Work diligently with the DA's office, in particular, Ms. Hahn, on preventing the youth name to be published in the press notes, including the date of birth. I think we made a lot of strides, so I'm very happy to hear there's also that continued commitment from the district attorney's office to kind of uphold that, even in situation where statutory, they could provide that information, but I don't think from a public policy practice or really makes any advances anybody's interest. So I'm happy to hear, but I just want to share with you that this has been an ongoing issue that we have, where we were just about a year or so ago and where we are today. Been significant progress.
And we're grateful. Thank you for your work on that, Ron, and thank you to Your Honor and to Nadia and everyone who's worked towards making sure that we can protect and maintain the confidentiality of our youth in detention. Yes.
I just wanted to also say, listening to statutory, listening to policy, there's also something called due process, innocent into proven guilty. So that means the facts are now, the details are now. So when we start putting children's names out into the community, I think that we should exercise a certain amount of restraint, just like when children are being harmed behind the cloak of confidentiality, that in this case, when, there's a child's future at risk, and this is something that we always are taught in the clinical realm, is that we're not the worst thing we've ever done, but beyond policy and beyond statutory, there's the United States Constitution that permits restraint when we don't have all the facts of the case. So I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you.
May I have 2 more words?
Yes, go ahead.
Recently, there's an unfortunate new case of a young man, 15 years old, involved in a murder case or a similar charge. This event happened to be on the same street that I live. And when I first heard the event, I just chills went through I wasn't with my son, I wasn't with my family at that time. And it's pretty harsh to hear that. And that's not the topic today, but just now I was wondering, this young man is 15 years old. Is he going to be put through the same thing? I know we're moving away from that, and we just said that, but that happened to be recent, right? And I think I already have heard from the community, from the forums, and from different sources, misinformation, which happens to be extremely important, not only in my son's case, but in this young man's case. I heard different stories that he was doing this and he was doing that, and none of it is supported by any evidence, which our community tends to kind of grab onto that and just add, right? But I just feel it's extremely unfair for this young man, without us knowing exactly what happened, to begin to speculate and not know any evidence. And that's why I believe it's extremely irresponsible from what Commissioner Bocanegra said is right on. I thought you are innocent until proven guilty. So until you do that, I think that the authorities have a moral responsibility to be quiet and to wait until a person is adjudicated and the supporting evidence is put forth, so that we can know what all these kids actually did before we condemn them in the public. And in fact, they're not only risk their well-being, but also the case, because it has an impact on the court, and the judges are people, they hear this stuff.
Thank you, Arnold. I appreciate that. And I'm
Thank
sorry
you.
that you had to go through that thinking that that might have been your son that was shot. I'm so sorry. Yes.
I can just second what you said, Mr. Morales. Because of the work I do within our care San Mateo County, I have a lot of people reach out to me about cases such as your son's case and ask me questions about it. And there was an assumption because of much of the information that was released from the district attorney's office that there were facts being released, and they weren't. And so it felt, and the questions that came to me, it felt like your son was being tried in the press. And that was extremely alarming. I hope that won't continue.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that we're making changes, and hopefully we won't no one will have to endure that again. Okay, we are doing so well, 6:56, and we're at the end of our agenda. I just have a couple announcements. The first one is the BHSA survey. The link is listed on the agenda and in the agenda packet. This is a survey, many of you may remember Prop 1, the mental health proposition that passed. This is a survey our MHRSA steering committee has been tasked with distributing or allocating the Prop 1 funding. So this is the survey that says, hey, where should this money go? So please, it's important. I think it's only going to be up for a couple more days. Please take a moment to fill that out. Again, it's a SurveyMonkey, and the link is in the agenda packet. My second announcement has to do, registration is open for the Dream, Discover, Decide 2025 College and Career Fair. And this is a career fair that's specifically tailored for youth within the juvenile justice system, or youth who have been involved in the juvenile justice system. So folks who are going to be there will be UC Berkeley Underground Scholars, California Community College Rising Scholars, San Francisco State Project Rebound, LIUNA Laborers Union, some of you may remember we had them here, and Work to Future, and many more. This event will be held on March 15th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Martin Luther King Library in San Jose. Youth who attend will be provided lunch and a $40 Target gift card and a swag bag loaded with goodies. There is childcare available if needed. I will put something out on social media that has the registration for this event. It is a bit.ly Dream Fair 2025, but I will go ahead and post it on our social media. So if anyone, our folks from Fly, any of our service providers in the room know of youth, this is a valuable opportunity that's coming up that we'd like to share. Anybody else have any announcements to make?
Through the chair.
Yes.
Commissioner Blanco actually emailed you a video that she wants to show.
I didn't get that.
I sent an email with the link, so if you could show it for some reason, I don't know what happened. But our last month's meeting, we showed it before you. It's on March 22nd.
Okay. Okay.
From 8:30 to 2, they got a college, March 22nd. Parents, for parents and youth, and we also provide like breakfast and lunch. Keynote speakers, Sheldon Chase, who is 4 months into the research seat, and now she's the CEO of Innovate Schools. She's our best speaker. And so we'll share the video highlighting last year's conference.
I think she just sent it to you right now.
Oh,
Did you guys have an issue last week or last month?
I don't know what happened with it. We have a very bad, hard time with videos, it seems like.
Okay.
Can we send it out on social media?
We can.
And it was circulated to all the commissioners.
I don't
okay.
see it. I don't have an email, but it could be because I'm not. I don't see an email. What time was it?
Well, while you're looking for that, can I make my
Yes,
last
please,
comment?
please.
I think it's clear that we need some support in terms of building more policies. Policies that clearly we see that have been not clearly communicated and or just needs to be developed. I would like to see if we can get Prosecutors Alliance, the group that sent us the AB 802, to see how we can learn from what the work that they're doing, as well as if there are some policies that we can create within the commission that can help with some of the gaps and challenges that we're seeing. I don't know how everyone else feels, but I feel like this Prosecutors Alliance, we start there to see what types of advocacy that they have been supporting families in the local and regional areas to see if that could be something.
I mean, that's a good question.
Yeah.
My impression from the limited exposure that I've had to them, because I've
Only found out about them through this bill.
Yeah.
But they do have a website and it looks like they're pretty focused on legislative efforts. But your question is whether they also are active in the community?
I mean, if that's a direction that we can go in terms of a bill or what can we do? How can we partner with them is
Yeah.
really what I want to know.
Well, I would say that, and unfortunately, Ron Ray's just left, but Ron is also an executive board member on the Pacific Youth Defender Center organization, which is about to be relaunched as the California Youth Defender Center, which will be a little clearer to everybody about what their mandate is and what they do in the state. So they are a leading statewide advocacy organization working towards elevating youth rights.
Okay.
So I would say that's
a little bit more up our.
yeah, although I mean, I'm fascinated with this group that are
yeah, there might be some bills that we are not unaware of.
well, I think CYDC will be our first contact and they work very closely with FLY as well. So they do like kind of a legislative priorities list every year that we follow.
Yeah.
And so I would, and in fact, this piece of legislation came to us through Colin Ford of FLY, who, you know, is always monitoring this and in Sacramento and actively advocating for youth. So I think we're good there.
Yeah.
But I think it is, you know, the point being, we need to be on top of it and understand where our opportunities are. And we do have partners in this space who are looking to see how we can be helpful as well.
Right. Okay. I'm just saying, I don't know what the plan is for the upcoming meetings. I know last year we did a heavy presentation in terms of organizations and even following up on some of those, you know, those were a lot of great opportunities that were presented to us that still, they aren't even integrated into our county.
Well, I know that we started with the substance abuse, that program went in. I know that I heard that they are entering into a contract with Prison Insight Project for the VOGUE, the victims program, the victim awareness program. There's been no movement on LIUNA, but the chief did say that he was leaning on the County Office of Education to provide CTE, but they've already said that they won't be providing CTE to our kids who've already graduated high school. So
I think my point is, we've got a lot of presentations, people came and shared a lot, but then it just stopped and I don't know what happened. So if there could be some sort of like close the loop, like, okay, Chief Keen said X, Y, and Z, you know, our liaisons are working on how to get them into the juvenile hall is kind of where I'm trying to get at, is like, the fire thing was really a great opportunity.
Yes,
I don't know what happened to that.
we do not have a contract right now for Pine Grove, but that is something that I met with the chief about several times. I know Ron and I took the trip up there. I mean, we're thrilled with the program. I think it's just a matter of entering into a contract I think we have, at least one person who's interested in potentially going. So I don't know, I was thinking the Board of Supervisors had to approve it, but I was told that John Keane could just enter into that contract. So that's what I'm focused on right now, is trying to get that contract done.
Yeah.
And what the timeline looks like for that, because other counties are utilizing that program. And I met an adult yesterday by chance who told me that they went through Pine Grove and it changed their life. And I said, I need your information because I want to hook you up with some kids who may have some questions about what you went through. He said it completely changed his life. And this was yeah, it was a Polynesian gentleman from South San Francisco. So anyway, so I hear what you're saying. Follow-up is important. We do this work. And if anyone has any ideas for future presentations, please let me know, because I'd like to, anything that we can learn is good. Okay, so if that's all, it is now 7:06.
To the chair.
Yes.
I just wanted to bring the conversation with Laguna back, and I don't believe that the County Office of Ed can provide that level of programming that the Laguna organization would be able to. And I do remember that there was supposed to be a follow-up meeting where the Chief Probation Officer from Santa Clara, along with Chief King and with the gentleman that presented, and I believe it was supposed to be Paul and yourself, to meet with them so we can move forward with a conversation about bringing that program to our youth. So I don't know if we might be able to follow up with that.
Well, I will
once again.
definitely mention it when I meet with the chief, and I will ask where that stands and what help we could offer, if any, to get that process started, to at least get those conversations to start happening, so we can really vet whether or not this is going to be a program that we can bring in. Thank you for that. So it is 7:07, and I am going to adjourn the meeting early. Thank you all for being here tonight. And for commissioners in the room, we're going to be staying over for closed session. Thank you.